Okay, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Saturday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Parish Construction and Roofing. If you need an orthopedist or Brock, need roof, call Parish. Unique Physique, uniquephysique.com, Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com, and Bocock Brothers, premium cigars. Use the code MAT15, MAT15, MAT15 for 15% off your order. Okay. What's up, y'all? Thanks for being here. Great day. Beautiful day, sun shining. Got a little chilly last night. Hope everybody was safe for trick or treat. On Halloween, Drew was a Dalmatian. Erica was Cruella DeVille. And I just wore a t-shirt that said dog catcher. Anyway, it's game day. So interesting day of games today. 11 a.m. We'll get Vandy, Texas, which I'll certainly be intrigued by that one. I think the best game of the day is probably Oklahoma, Tennessee tonight. Why don't you walk by the door? Oh, no, I guess not right by the door. I heard the door open. I was like, I can't believe you walked outside in your pajamas. Oh, okay. I heard the front door open. I was like, the front door. Anyway. So college football game day, LSU's coaching search onward. Verge Ausberry will pick the new coach. Committee of a handful of people will join him in that search. Ballard, Carmouche, Ben Bordelon, EJ Kuiper, and then they said there will be one more who he didn't name. So I'm curious who that is. Anyway, keep an eye on that and how it goes. Now that, and my hope is, as sort of unstable as this week has been, now that all this is done, right? Hopefully it's all done. Kelly's been fired. Woodward's been fired. We'll find out about buyout stuff later. But you've got your interim AD in place who has autonomy to hire the coach. You're going to hire a president on Tuesday. So hopefully it starts to, go back in the other direction. So we'll see. I mean, LSU's got a lot to offer. Resources, facilities, passionate fan base, talent-rich state, all the things are still there. As bad as this week was, hopefully this is the part where, okay, despite tons of different disagreements, we've gotten through all that, and now you can start moving together in a positive direction. So hopefully. All right, let's say some good morning, y'all. Please smash the like button if you would. Subscribe to the channel, Facebook, like the page, share the post. Good morning. J Bags 504, what's up? Hey, Gregory, good morning. Hey, Kelly, good morning. Thomas, good morning. Shabbat Shalom. Solar Flares, good morning. Tiger Diver, do you worry, Gov? I don't know if you finished that one, Tiger Diver. If you want to finish that one. Brendan, good morning. Jacob, what's up, man? Do you think Verge will make a good hire? I do. One of the things Terrio said yesterday on AFR, which she's right, is that in all these coaching searches, there's always multiple people. Like, yes, the athletic director ultimately has the final say, but there's always multiple people who give input and who conduct interviews and help. Like, if you remember when Kim Mulkey was hired and you go back and listen to her introductory press conference, she references multiple times Stephanie. Well, that was Stephanie Remp. So Stephanie Remp is who Scott was sort of Scott's right hand in Washington, and then went to A&M, and then to LSU. And Stephanie really spearheaded getting that deal done, right? Like all the particulars for the contract. So, anyway, so yeah, I think all that to say, I think Verge. Well, I don't think I know Verge has been part of a ton of these coaching searches for a lot of different sports over the years. I mean, he's seen it from all angles and has been through it before. And he played, and his son plays college football, and so he's very connected in his relationships. Like, I think Verge is more than capable of making the hire. Brad, good morning. I still remember 2019 when you said Woodward was hired. When Woodward was hired, said it was most important since 1999. It was Saban, yeah. It is sad to see it end this way because it didn't need to. And you could tell in that press conference yesterday, like Scott Ballard and John Carmouche had no good answer for why they were parting ways. And they were asked three different times in three different ways. And they just did, because there is no good answer, because we all know the answer. The answer is the governor wanted Scott Woodward out. And so he forced this through. I mean, and I flatly disagree with him. It's funny. I keep getting people hitting with, "You're a leftist." I'm like, no, I'm not. I just happen to flatly disagree with what the governor did. I mean, I didn't interject myself into politics. Politics interjected itself in my world. And I just think it was a very poor decision. So I disagree. But it's done, and he did it. And so they'll move on. Governor Landry, BCD. What is that? I don't know what that means. Sorry. That's not bad. Or like vulgar. I don't know what that means. Bubba, good morning. Morning, Matt from Kansas City. Is Josh Brooks Lane given a possibility for AD and head coach? So Josh Brooks put on social media yesterday that he's not a candidate, that he's happy at Georgia. So he was preempted there. I can tell you that I know there was at least preliminary conversation with BCS. He did reference the BCS on my show. I didn't need to derail the interview by correcting him. It was, yes, everyone caught it. I looked up and was like, but so the camera caught me kind of laughing about it. But anyway, whatever. But yes, I didn't need to derail the interview with that. That was a detail that was largely irrelevant in the grand scheme of the conversation. Let's see. Oh, look. Told you they exist. For someone who says they don't care about politics, you're turning into a political hack. So I don't talk politics. A politician jumps into my world, disrupts the things that I care deeply about, but I'm the political hack. For what it's worth, I've had a lot of conversations privately with Jeff Landry since all this started, and I like him a lot. I think he's a very pleasant guy. Every time I've ever had a chance with him, Jeff Landry and I actually texted this morning. I won't tell you what we texted about, but we did. But this is the mentality right here that drove me away from caring about politics and current events and things like that. Because someone like that is so blind. I don't know who this is, Joe D 9420, whatever. Is so blinded by party loyalty that if you're an R, you can do no wrong, and if you're a D, you can do no right. That's what that person is saying. And I don't care. I don't. The governor interjected himself into the world that I cover. I didn't start talking about politics. I started talking about a thing a politician did that affected the football team that I cover. And I think it was a very poor decision. But you can't see that because all you see is someone not agreeing with something that the governor did. So you're actually proving my point, whoever you are. Whatever. And now, and I'll tell you one of the things I said to the governor this morning was, hopefully all this is over. I can get back to talking about how LSU can be better at running the football. Thanks for reaching out and have a great Saturday. Anyway, let's see. But this is the thing that I would encourage whoever you are to do and to think is understand that sometimes, like, you will be happier in your life if you can get to a point where you stop marrying your happiness on a daily basis or your feelings on what political people are doing, because it doesn't matter if they're what side they're on. They all have an agenda to remain in power. And they can be good people, but it's the nature of that whole thing. And so I hate it. And it doesn't matter what side you're on. I just want people to get along. I want people to do right by others, to be good people, treat each other right, and do the right thing. Focus on the things that we agree on. Have you heard Woodward meddling in Kelly's staff and hires? Oh God. No. Like the Austin Thomas hire was a Scott Woodward hire, but Austin and Kelly got along really well. But that's a way that was structured. How much do you think this clown show affects your ability to hire a targeted coach? Well, I think it's a good question. I think it's a fair question that everyone's probably asking. So I think that's the role of the committee that Verge formed. Because look, Scott Ballard and John Carmouche, Ben Bordelon, EJ Kuiper, and whoever the fifth person is. Like, those aren't necessarily the people that are going to be super proficient at knowing who the best football coach available is, right? But they're very smart business people who have built gigantic companies and big businesses and know the right questions to ask and how to vet people and different things like that, and things that might matter in the state. And so I think, if LSU wants to talk to a potential candidate, and obviously you're not going to talk to a coach right now, you're going to talk to their representative. But if the representative has a question, like the agent has a question about, hey, what's going on down there? Like, are they actually going to have the autonomy, or is the governor going to interject, or who's going to be the AD, and who are they working for? Like, a lot of those things. Well, a lot of those are the types of conversations that these very successful business people can have to sort of calm the waters around the whole thing, because LSU is still going to be really attractive. I mean, you're going to pay a big salary. You have an incredible recruiting base, incredible fan base, incredible facilities. You're in the SEC. I mean, all the things are still there, but it is going to take some work to sort of calm those seas. Well, Matt, you feel comfortable with Verge? Ausberry's speech yesterday to the LSU faithful. Not so much the speech. I think the most important thing was Scott Ballard saying that the board has given Verge autonomy to go hire a coach. And that's important, because if Verge doesn't have the autonomy to hire a coach and he's making phone calls to agents about candidates, then why would the agent necessarily be listening if that's not the decision maker? Like it was important that they said, this is the decision maker publicly. He has the autonomy to go hire a coach. And then Verge saying they told me to go find the best coach, not worry about the contract, is also important because of the conversations earlier in the week about buyout and all that sort of stuff. So, will LSU go spend for a coach? Verge said, if that's what we need to do, we'll do. Brad, why was the press conference so early? I have no idea, man. I have no idea why that press conference was at 8 a.m. Good morning. What an insane week. Beautiful day here in Sulphur. Good Lord is so good. We're blessed. Go Tigers. Amen. Morning, Scone. Do you wonder Governor Landry will come after you now? He seems to have a lot of axes to grind. No, I don't. I don't at all. Like he and I spoke on the phone this week off air. We've texted several times. We're fine. We're fine. I think he understands that I have a job to do, and I very much disagree with what he did. And he thinks he was right in doing what he did. And that's fine. We can disagree, and he can go back to running the state, and I can go back to talking about hopefully how LSU will be better on third down. More obvious, Woodward needed to go. It's not because of a vindictive governor, but it is because of a vindictive governor. I mean, that's what you're missing. Like, the reason Jeff Landry jumped into this, like, the wheels were set in motion. You can believe this or not. Like, you don't have to believe this, but again, like, I'm telling you this is what happened. Lee Mallett, who is a wealthy guy from Southwest Louisiana, benefactor of Jeff Landry's, is on the LSU board because he was a donor to the governor, wanted Will Wade to be the coach again. Ross Dellinger wrote about this at Yahoo. He didn't mention these names, but I'm telling you the names. Lee Mallett offered to pay Matt McMahon's buyout and pay for Will Wade to come back to LSU. He went to Landry, wanted Landry to have Scott Woodward fire Matt McMahon and hire Will Wade. Scott Woodward refused to do that. So how does that make Landry look in the face of a board member who's a big donor and all that sort of stuff? Not great. That's one part of it. Landry also didn't like Scott Woodward's spending. That's another part of it that's been not so whispered about, but not so quietly, like with contracts, obviously. And then with the Kelly thing this week, it all came to a head. And that's when ultimately all these wheels just got pushed into super speed. So yes, it is. Like, it was a vindictive move because of what started with the Will Wade stuff earlier in the year. That's not a way to run a state or an athletic department. Let's see. Good morning. Got a few questions for you today. First off, do you think it's possible to win a college football national championship with a quarterback that can't run, aside from having the best players? Yes. Morning, Matt. Who's going to be attracted to the job, or is LSU big enough brand to overcome the stupidity? Talked about that just a little bit ago. Let's see. I asked you Wednesday morning before the conference if Landry presence would run off bigger candidates. You stopped reading the comments, told me go elsewhere with the convo. Maybe I include the statue. Oh, that was why. Yeah, if you were talking about the statue, I had no desire to talk about that. That goes back to the thing where that's not what I do. Like, y'all have that conversation somewhere else. Like, you want to talk about firing an AD and hiring a coach and all, like, but I'll talk about that. The other stuff, I'm not talking about that. Let's go, Thomas. Good. College game to be confirmed. What I always get flack for. LSU will a great job, not as nationally regarded as we want to think. I didn't hear what they said on game day. Hey, Matt. Jeff Landry is a disgrace. LSU is a joke. I think Woodward deserve better. All the titles won in many sports. I don't think Jeff Landry is a disgrace, and I don't think LSU is a joke. I do think Scott Woodward deserved better. I just disagree with Jeff Landry in this instance. As I've said many times, I think this was the wrong thing to do. I also do not think LSU is a joke. I think right now LSU is not being painted in the best light, which is why my hope for my alma mater. I'm not talking about the football team. I'm talking about my alma mater, Louisiana State University. On Tuesday, they'll elect the president. That president will get installed. Hopefully that creates more stability and you start to create that alignment again, right? From the Capitol to the president, to the board, to the AD, to the coach. That alignment is so key. And you clearly don't have it. And when you don't have it, you see things like this happen where there's instability. But hopefully you're getting back to the point where we will. Let's see, good morning, Matt. Have you heard anyone mention Landry is interested in Napier due to ULL ties? I have not heard that. Career politician. It's true. Let's see. Pretty sold on the idea that if we don't get Lane, I want Shepard. I feel like having former LSU players coach would be the best recruiting tool. Thoughts? What's your pecking order? So my preference would be I would want Dan Lanning first, but he has said publicly and in no uncertain terms, I'm not leaving Oregon. So, okay. Still make the phone call, but okay. If you asked me, would I rather someone like Eli Drinkwitz at Missouri or take a shot with Kelvin Shepard? I mean, Shepard's a big risk, having no head coaching experience, and there's so much involved outside of just the X's and O's. But I could see a case for Shepard, but he would have to surround himself with veteran coordinators, and it's just. I think if you learn something from Brian Kelly's tenure, it's you have to have a head coach that is all in with this era. And you hired Kelly in 21, at the end of 21, right? Which was the first year of July 21 was the first year of NIL. And so, NIL was 6 months old when you hired Brian Kelly. And it hadn't yet evolved into what it had become with the gigantic contracts and the pay for play and now rev share. And it's why I don't think Brian Kelly coaches again. People are asking if he's going to get another. I think he's far more likely to, and I could be wrong. Like, he and I have not spoken about this. Like, I haven't, since Brian Kelly was fired on Sunday, he and I have not spoken. I would like to speak to him for a lot of different reasons, actually. I would like to thank him for the professional courtesy he showed me and all of us for the last 4 years. He was fantastic to cover. I think he very much respected the job that we had to do. He made himself accessible. He was honest. I appreciated that very much. But I would be interested to know if he plans to coach again, because I don't think just an opinion. Again, I don't think he's in love with this era. And so he's more likely to go do TV. So back to the Shepard point, I think that's he's a young guy who would be in love with this era. Would be fired up to see the players getting paid and could defer to a general manager on how to structure the payments for a roster and then go get dudes ready to roll on Saturdays. I could see that working. But you could eliminate a lot of variables and unknowns if you hired a proven coach in this era, like Drinkwitz. I mean, something worth mentioning, and I don't think this is going to happen, but, your Verge's son, Jaden, plays at Notre Dame. Verge has a relationship with Marcus Freeman. I mean, I don't know that Freeman would take the LSU job. I do believe Freeman, as a courtesy for his agent, would take the call from Verge. And for whatever it's worth, Freeman's agent, whose name I don't think anybody knows, younger guy, but like rising as a big name. Like he has Freeman, Mike Elko, Drinkwitz. But because he's got Drinkwitz too, it could be a thing where if you call about Freeman, he says, Freeman's not interested, but can I interest you in Eli Drinkwitz? Like it could be like that. I mean, that's what happened with Sexton back when LSU got Nick Saban. I mean, LSU wanted to hire Tommy Tuberville, but there were some board members and boosters that did not like that Tuberville had smoked cigars on the field in 99. And so they didn't want to hire, like that season, so they didn't want to hire Tuberville. And so then Sexton was like, all right, if Tuberville's no, can I interest you in Nick Saban? That's how the Saban connection started because of Sexton representing them both. Yeah, this is a good question. Why pick the head coach for hiring a permanent AD? So I don't know if Verge is going to be named permanent AD, but that is a fair question. And I think a lot of times, of course, the coach would want to know who their boss is going to be, naturally. For example, like Jay Johnson just signed an extension at LSU. Jay Johnson thinks the world of Scott Woodward. Woodward hired him and gave him the extension. Now, they obviously Jay didn't love the revenue share component baseball got, and they're working to rectify that. But the point is, Jay was hired by Scott, extended by Scott, and now Scott's gone. So all the coaches, I mean, looking at that press conference yesterday, all of the coaches were there. Jay, Beth Torina, Jay Clark, Matt McMahon. Did not see Mulkey, but then like all the football staff, I mean, Austin Thomas was there. I mean, like everybody was there. Like the whole athletic department was at this press conference. And so I think they all, you don't think of it in these terms, but they're all a little uneasy because they're going to have a new boss. Like their athletic director is their boss. So I think the other thing too that I would have never thought this was a thing that actually happens, but apparently does, is sometimes when there's like an open AD position like this, for the right candidate, you could take their input on who the athletic director should be. Now that it feels a little like letting the inmates run the asylum, and that's not something that I knew until a couple of days ago when that was explained to me, that a few instances where that's happened, which is interesting. So, Thomas, let's take care of a little business.
Parish Construction and Roofing. At Parish, we've got you covered. From the top of your roof, all the way down. Parish Construction and Roofing. Parish built. Parish built. Parish built. From your hometown. ParishBuilt.com.
All right, Parish Construction and Roofing. If you need an orthopedist, you go to Brock. If you need a roof, you call Parish. Remember, over at Brock, the After Hours Clinic is open today. Nights and weekends as an alternative to the ER. Great spot right there on Bluebonnet. And of course, we'd love to give you that free, no obligation roofing inspection. Visit parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. There's a bajillion comments here. My apologies. I'll just go to the bottom. Saban is AD. I do not believe that's a thing. Miami needs to hurry up and fire Mike McDaniel. I don't think it's a terrible idea, by the way. I don't think it's a terrible idea. To hire someone with NFL experience, given the current structure. Woodward did a great job. Football runs the athletic department. You have to win in football. I mean, they did win the national title in 2019. And I know, like I saw Braden Fajoko's tweet where he said, Woodward had nothing to do with 2019. It's not exactly true. I mean, for all the credit people want to give Joe Brady, I mean, you had to get that hire approved. All the resources and everything that you need to make things happen, like all that runs through athletics, and you have to have good leadership. So it all is about alignment, like we talk about. But the Kelly hire was a coup at the time, and getting Kelly away from Notre Dame. The world of college football changed during that era. How can you get a big name if that's what they want when most are in the playoff hunt? That's a great point, Todd. And that for me is the biggest question. Now remember, you hired Brian Kelly away when Notre Dame was right on the out. I think Notre Dame finished that season when LSU hired him away 4th, but they missed the playoff because of or maybe they were 5th and missed playoff by 1 spot. If a coach is going to stay with their team through their playoff run, and then you make the hire, well, then you've missed very likely the December high school window. And if they play past the quarterfinals on New Year's, then you're very likely going to miss the January portal window as well, which is the only portal window now. So you'd have a coach. How do you be effective in the portal window, not knowing who your head coach is? And how do you attract a coach if you've already missed the opportunity to make any changes to your roster because there's no more spring portal window? Very true. We got some games today, y'all. What are we betting on? Phil Steele like Texas against Vanderbilt. I don't know that I agree with him on that. I mean, it feels like a stinky bet, right? But man, Vandy getting 3.5 at Texas. I get that Texas is the better roster, but I think Vanderbilt's just a better team. Yeah, I don't know. Oh man, Miami SMU's down to 8.5. It was 10.5 yesterday. I should have played it. Penn State, Ohio State. Ohio State will cover that. Blowout city. Clemson favored by 4 against Duke. What else we got in the morning window? All right. Please smash the like button if you would subscribe to the channel. Facebook, like the page, share the post. Glad to have you hanging out with us here as always. K-State 7.5. One of my favorite plays. I love the home dogs today. K-State 7.5 at home. Probably won't play Mississippi State, Arkansas. What's the other one? Ole Miss, I think, will cover against South Carolina today. I think Carolina emptied the tank last week. They're in trouble. I love NC State at home today against Georgia Tech. Would not be surprised for the outright upset there. I like Oklahoma getting 2.5 on the road against Tennessee. Tough place to play, but I just think Oklahoma's defense, Tennessee's pass. I love Nebraska. That's another home dog I like today. Like a lot of home dogs today. So we'll see how it goes. And then Utah laying 10.5 against Cincinnati is wild to me. I just, 10.5. It's just a wild number to see it that big. But they may just run roughshod over them. They played a tougher schedule and all that stuff. But anyway. Let's see. Dan Mullen, next head coach at LSU. I don't think that's a terrible idea. Look, there's a lot of very respected football people that I know that think Dan Mullen is a really smart offensive guy and a brilliant play caller. Dan Mullen's knock at Florida was he hated to recruit. Well, in this era, recruiting is done more with a checkbook. And, I think it just matters less. Any updates on Arkansas, Western Kentucky times? Nope. Well, Arkansas is 11 a.m., right? or it's the morning. It's either 11 or noon, right? I mean, it's going to be in the morning, or 11 or 11:45. I think technically it's the morning window for Arkansas. Yeah, it's sometime between 11 and noon. Western Kentucky is a night kickoff, so we don't know exactly what time yet, though. Good point. Vandy, back-to-back road conference games. Tough thing to do. Where are we? Really disappointed to hear T-Bob saying in his podcast he told Moffitt the day before the game to beat the hell out of LSU. Oof, I didn't hear him say that. I haven't heard T-Bob's pod, but yeah, I wouldn't say it. Since Verge was given the green light to make the hire, is it reasonable to assume he's on a working interview? The board is basically saying the job is his to lose before they look elsewhere. Bring back Sylvester Green. Oh, man. Ryan, I'm with you too here, man. I'm going to get back to the question about Verge. Ready to talk some. I'm with you, man. I am very much with you. So I think I think one of the big questions with Verge is if he wants the job this go round. And you might say, why wouldn't he want it? Look, let's be honest. Verge was suspended a couple of years back with all the Title IX hoopla, and that will come back again, right? If he gets hired, if he gets the job full time, like that story will get brought up again. And sometimes there's just a great benefit to being the number two. You don't get all the blame, the criticism. Look at what's happened this past week, right? But Verge has been around a long time, man. Played at LSU, loves LSU. He's been part of LSU's athletic administration for 30 years. I mean, like if they hire Verge full time, like I'm good with that. Like he knows how to do the job. Like and I'm sure having seen Joe Dean, Skip Bertman, Joe Oliva, Scott Woodward, he's taken stuff from all of them, what to do, what not to do. Like, I like the idea of having someone who has done that job at a high level institution somewhere. But sometimes the best candidate is right under your nose. And I think Verge could do an outstanding job. And the other thing too, Sean, do you think Frank and Austin can be placeholders? I think that's what would happen. But what was I going to say? Doggone it. I forgot what I lost my train of thought. Sorry. Revisionist history say Woodward is responsible for 119. We were told Woodward wanted O gone. So Woodward didn't necessarily want O gone the day he was hired. The thing that bothered Scott Woodward about Ogeron was Scott wanted the head coach to be a figurehead for the athletic department. And when O was, taking pictures in bed with women and, running shirtless on the beach and all that sort of and getting into those stare downs with co-eds and those were the things that were negatively reflecting on a $200 million athletic department when the highest paid, most prominent person was doing those things. Those were the things that Scott didn't like. All right. It's 11:01. Let's go watch some football, y'all. Let's go watch some football, y'all. Hopefully we can all just get back to talking about football. I'm ready to just talk about Bama week and hopefully how LSU can go on the road and get a win in Tuscaloosa. Curious to see what that line may do this week. But anyway, 11:02. Let's go watch some football. Y'all have an awesome day. Enjoy your football Saturday, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Please shout out to all of our sponsors. Linked in the description on YouTube, tagged on Facebook, and we will see you tomorrow.